It's truly fascinating and maybe a bit baffling. Most people don't actually get what they want in life. And it's often not for the reasons you might think. It's not really because they're lazy or, lack talent.
Right.
Our deep dive today shows a really surprising gap.
Yeah.
They often just don't know how to ask for it.
It's fundamental, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to unpack how you listening right now can actually get what you want.
And this isn't about magic formulas or luck.
No, not at all. It's not just for the super rich or, the geniuses among us.
It's really a mix, isn't it? A learnable blend of asking the right way, planning things out.
Having that belief, and this is critical, figuring out how to handle that big hurdle, the fear of hearing no.
Yeah, that fear is powerful. And what's remarkable is how often we make things more complicated than they need to be.
How so?
Well, think about it like this. Imagine walking into your absolute favorite restaurant. You know exactly what you want. Would you just sit down, stare really hard at the waiter, and just hope your favorite dish magically appears?
No, of course not. That's ridiculous. You'd order.
Exactly. You'd place your order, and yet that's pretty much what so many of us do in life, right?
That's a great analogy. We had these fuzzy ideas floating around. Oh, I want to be rich, or I just want to be happy.
Super vague.
Totally vague. And vague desires, well, they lead to vague results. We don't spell them out clearly. We don't ask for specific help. We basically forget to place our order with the universe or with anyone who can actually help.
And the result, you end up with, like the analogy says, cold leftovers, or worse, nothing at all. It really paints a picture of why people feel stuck.
It really does.
And this leads to something really profound we found across the material. So many doors really do open just because you knocked.
It sounds simple, maybe too simple.
Well, it's more than just a saying. Some studies we looked at showed that making a direct, specific request can boost your success rate significantly, like by an average of 37% compared to just waiting around.
37%, wow. That's not insignificant.
Not at all. It's about knocking with actual purpose.
Okay, so if it's that simple, just ask, what's stopping people? What's the big psychological roadblock you've seen or that our sources point to?
Well, that's where it gets interesting and a bit complex. Our brains apparently process social rejection in a way that feels weirdly similar to actual physical pain.
Ouch. Okay, that explains a lot.
Right. It makes the thought of hearing no feel like a genuine threat. But here's the key insight. While it feels threatening, a no is really just data. It's feedback.
Feedback, not failure.
Exactly. It doesn't actually harm you. It's not the end of the world. A no just means, okay, next.
Next. I like that.
It's proof you're actually doing something. You're in the game. And honestly, every no gets you closer to the yes you eventually need. Successful people aren't necessarily luckier.
They've just asked more often.
They've asked more, and they've learned to see no as just a little course correction, not a dead end.
Okay, so embracing the next mindset, that resilience then frees you up, right? Because there's another piece, vagueness. The universe, or maybe just our own actions, really doesn't like vagueness.
Precisely. If your goal is fuzzy, your results are going to be fuzzy too. Like wanting more money, what does that even mean? An extra $10?
Right, probably not what you had in mind.
Probably not. Our brains are just not wired to work well with vague instructions. Clear, specific goals actually light up different pathways in the brain. It makes the planning, the doing, much more effective.
So activating those pathways, what does that look like in real terms? You have to get super specific, crystal clear.
Yeah. No more, I want a promotion. Yes, I want the senior manager role in my department by Q3.
Or not just more money, but I want to earn an extra, say, 50,000 rupees a month through my side hustle within the next 12 months.
Exactly. Or I want to buy a 3-bedroom house in this specific neighborhood by December 2028. Write it down, make it real.
The sharper the goal, the clearer the path your brain can map out.
Yeah.
Vagueness is like the enemy of getting things done.
It really is. And once you've got that clarity, nailed down the specifics, the next powerful combo comes into play. Plan like an adult, but believe like a kid.
Okay, unpack that. Plan like an adult, believe like a kid.
Think back to when you were a kid. You might have dreamed of being an astronaut, a vet, whatever.
Yeah.
And you just knew it was possible, right? Zero doubt.
Yeah, total conviction, didn't even question it.
Right. Then as adults, we learn important stuff, how to plan, budget, set deadlines, the practical things needed to actually do something.
The how.
The how. But if you lose that childlike belief along the way, that gut feeling that, of course, this is going to work out, you can basically snuff out the dream before you even start.
I see that. But couldn't that pure belief sometimes tip over into just being unrealistic
Yeah.
or naive? How do you balance that kid-like faith with adult reality?
That's a fair point, and it's exactly why the combination is crucial. It's not one or the other.
Okay.
The adult planning gives you the realistic steps, the roadmap. That's your research, your action plan, your how.
Got it.
But the childlike belief, that's the fuel. That's the unwavering why you're even bothering with all those steps.
Right, the motivation.
Exactly. Without the practical adult plan, the belief is just daydreaming. But without the belief, the adult plan can just become a list of all the reasons something won't work until you talk yourself out of it.
Okay, so it's the synergy. Practical steps fueled by relentless optimism. That's what creates real momentum.
Precisely. And that momentum, that energy, helps you build the roots, not just chase the visible fruit.
Roots versus fruits. Explain that.
It's like a big, beautiful mango tree. Everyone sees and admires the juicy mangoes, the obvious success, the money, the recognition, the fruits.
Yeah, the end result.
But the real work, the foundation, happens underground, unseen, building the root system.
Ah, okay. And that relates back to...
Our research into success stories consistently shot down the overnight success idea. It's mostly a myth. What we saw again and again was that the public fruit almost always came after years, sometimes an average of like 7 years of quiet, consistent root building.
7 years. Wow, so that's the unseen effort.
That's the discipline, the small daily habits. Are you, watering those roots every day?
Meaning, reading the book, learning the skill.
Practicing your craft, making the calls, whatever it is, doing it day in, day out, especially when nobody's watching or cheering you on.
Success is never an overnight mango.
Like that.
Definitely not. It takes seasons of tending, of putting in the work, often with a lot of patience.
Thinking about that fear again. For years, I probably walked right past chances because that fear of rejection felt like a wall. It's wild how much that one feeling holds us back.
It's incredibly common.
We found this example, this entrepreneur, right? After years building her roots, doing the work, she just saw a CEO she really admired in a coffee shop.
Instead of freezing up, she just walked over and said something like, "Excuse me, could I possibly buy you a coffee and pick your brain for just 10 minutes?
Gutsy. What happened?
That 10-minute coffee led to an internship, which turned into a job, which eventually became her dream career path.
Wow.
But what if she'd stayed quiet? What if the fear won?
Like they say, closed mouths don't get fed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings up a key question. If these ideas ask clearly, believe, do the work are pretty straightforward, why doesn't everyone just do them?
Good question. What's the barrier?
Honestly, our deep dive suggests it's mostly because it's uncomfortable. Asking feels vulnerable. Being specific takes real mental effort. Believing when maybe people around you are skeptical, that takes guts.
So we prefer the comfort zone.
Often, yes. Humans tend to gravitate towards what feels safe, even if that safe zone is actually limiting us. We avoid the potential sting of rejection or the hard work involved in getting clear.
Which is fascinating because those comfort zones are kind of like invisible cages, aren't they? They feel safe, sure, but they also keep you small.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've covered a lot, but maybe the immediate takeaway is simple.
Keep it actionable.
Yeah. Tonight, maybe just grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Write down one thing you genuinely want, but be really specific.
Not be successful.
No. Something concrete like, I want to get that certification in digital marketing by the end of the year. Or, I want to connect with 3 potential mentors in my field this month.
Okay, specific goal. Then what?
Then think, who could help you with that? Even a tiny step. And how exactly will you ask them? Just map it out.
And the crucial part.
Promise yourself you'll survive if they say no. Because you will. That's it.
Yeah.
It sounds small, but it can kickstart something big.
And underpinning all of this, maybe the most foundational piece is self-belief.
Ah, yes.
You can have the perfect plan, the perfect ask, but if deep down you don't feel you actually deserve what you're asking for, it probably won't land.
Your inner critic gets in the way.
Your inner voice has to be your biggest supporter, not the one tearing you down.
So it's about actively changing that internal dialogue, replacing, oh, I can't do that, with, okay, how can I do that?
Yes, and shifting from, but what if I fail, to, yeah, but what if I fly?
That shift That's where things really start to change, isn't it? When you stop letting doubt call the shots and you actually start daring.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's quickly recap the core insights for you. What are the big takeaways?
Okay, first, got to be the sheer power of just asking. If you want something, you have to ask for it, period.
And remember that no, it isn't failure, it's just feedback. It means next. Every single no is actually moving you closer to the yes you need.
Right. Second takeaway, specificity is king. We saw how vague goals lead to vague outcomes get absolutely crystal clear.
Like an extra $5,000 a month clear, or buy that house by 2028 clearer. Precision lights the way.
Third, that mindset mix is powerful. Plan like an adult, be practical, do the homework, map the steps.
But believe, like a kid, hold on to that pure, unshakable conviction that, yeah, this is going to work out. That synergy fuels everything.
Fourth, build your roots. Don't just look for the fruits. Real, lasting success, the fruits, grows from that deep foundation of discipline and consistent daily habits.
Reading the book, learning the skill, practicing every single day. Success is definitely not an overnight mango.
Love that. And finally,
Self-belief and daring. None of these strategies click if you don't believe you're worthy of what you're pursuing.
you've got to replace the doubt with daring. That's when life starts to open up.
It really does.
Because when it comes right down to it, life doesn't automatically give you what you deserve. It tends to give you what you're brave enough to ask for.